Hi, I'm Carolina Tchintian. I'm the director of the Political Institutions Program at CIPPEC. CIPPEC is a think tank which promotes improvements in public policy. My specific program tries to advocate on improvements in democratic institutions, and in this sense, Congress, it's basically one of our core areas to work with. And since the beginning of the social distancing measures adopted by the government, CIPPEC started to research on what other countries were doing on the issue of Congress and how they were going to overcome this dilemma to have a say in a policy making process, but at the same time respecting the social distancing measure. So given that we didn't have any experience of remote sessioning at the legislative level. So far, our Congress didn't have any plenary sessions remotely. When the pandemic started, both chambers, the deputies and the senators, they actually worked on, and they had committee sessions. Those committee sessions were specifically hearings and informative sessions in which members of the cabinet are invited to the chamber in order to answer questions regarding to this emergency context, this crisis context. So those sessions, those committee sessions were actually held virtually. They had a remote system, and the platform they used in those particular cases was Zoom. We observed and we followed those sessions, and they were pretty neat. They didn't have any apparent issue and problem. And those legislators who reported to having any technical issue, they were able to solve it pretty quick. So it was very good, but we have to remember that these were only hearings, like sessions in which no decisions were made. So the decision-making process in the legislative context may imply another layer of complexity that they started to think about during this last month. We have good news in Argentina in this front, because yesterday the Chamber of Deputies, they approved the protocol on how are gonna be working remotely in the Chamber of Deputies. So they approved a remote session that it's gonna be mixed and for a period of time that it's predetermined. This means that mixed means that they decided that some of the deputies are gonna be in person in the building of the chamber. These are chamber authorities and also party bosses, party authorities, and the rest of the deputies are gonna be having these sessions and participating in these sessions remotely. And the other thing that they decided is that this protocol is for 30 days. After 30 days, they are gonna evaluate the need to waive, let's say, this decision. And they can do it as much as they want. So regarding rules, we identified 3 ways of in Argentina to do this. So the internal rules of the Congress, of the Chamber of Deputies and the Senate, of course, they don't explicitly talk about virtuality because I guess nobody could think about such a situation in the past, but it's not prohibited either. So one way of doing this was basically trying to establish a procedure and vote this procedure remotely. The second way was saying, okay, if we have to proceed virtually, we have to reform these internal rules. And for that, we have to be in person voting this reform and then start doing virtually, which is a paradox, but that's a second way. And the third one is enable an exceptional virtual session in order to reform these rules. So what we did, Latin America had different situations. We have been exploring that. And in the case of Argentina, as I said before, the rules do not explicitly talk about virtuality, but the rules of the internal, they say that in case of exceptional situations, such as the one that we are living all around the world, sessions can be held outside the building. So this allowed, in this case, that they started to talk about the procedure and they reached an agreement on how to proceed because of the exceptional situation.